Pokemon's newest set, Supercharged Breaker, will be releasing in Japan on October 18th, and this will make up the back half of our Surging Sparks set releasing in November. So, for the first time, we're very, very close to Japan in terms of release schedule, and these cards are coming out in Japan in about a week, and they'll be coming out in America in a few weeks after that. My name is Rahul, and today we're going to be looking at some of the new cards from the Supercharged Breaker set. I've actually missed a lot of the reactions for this one because I've been traveling, so I thought it'd be fun to just wait for the whole set instead of doing a couple of bits and pieces after I've missed them. So we're going to do what we can here, talk about them in a competitive setting, kind of give you a better look and an idea of what I think is good, what I think is bad, given the context of the existing card pool, that kind of stuff. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I try to do them on release night, but if I'm not at home, well, we're tough out of luck. So starting us off, we have some secret rares are showing off. This Phanpy is really cute. I saw this one on Twitter, actually, and that's how I knew that the set was live. I saw this link to the article, and I was like, oh, this is adorable. I want this for my collection. I love this guy. This is like me on when I was a kid, you know, no worries, nothing. And the adult Dawn fans are now taxpayers and dealing with the griefs of being an adult. Now, this Kecleon art goes crazy. The little Kecleons everywhere on the card is a really cool touch. It's like a lot going on, but I like it. I don't know who this guy is. But he's giving off like creepy uncle vibes. And then this is Jasmine. Everyone knows Jasmine. Everyone say hi to Jasmine. So we have cards from our August Sylveon and Cerulege decks. Okay, yeah, this is all the stuff that makes up the next Surging Sparks set. You can see the set for us. I'm just gonna skip through all this card arts because I don't want to spoil myself. So we've seen this execute before. The Executor has Explosion. This is a very funny art. 60 times the number of each energy attached to each active Pokemon. Pretty bad on a coin flip. I wouldn't ever play this card. Durant EX. That is a crazy Pokemon to get an EX. It's not one I would ever expect to get an EX Pokemon. 190 HP Grass. Ability. Sudden Scrape. When you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Seems interesting. Can we recycle this? That's the only question I have. If we can't recycle this and it be on a two-prizer, kind of takes away from like what Durant really wants to be. But in the years, or in legacies past when Durant has been good, it's pretty good with that. Grass double colors, 120 plus 30 for each prize card your opponent's taken. So it's a grass type Revenger that can probably slot into a couple of decks pretty well. So maybe like a deck that can abuse Legacy plus double turbo. Lugia, that's crazy. Who would say that? Durant could probably slot in pretty well. But we already have Shaman as a Revenger, but this is a better base damage for the Revenge Crash. So I actually do not hate this card quite a bit, especially if Charizard continues to be the dominating threat that it is. Durant can come in and actually do a ton of damage. I think Hydreigon is in the set as well. So this can come in and do a ton of damage to that. Scatterbug and Spupa have nothing going on for them. Let's see what the Pavilion does. Evolution Powder for each bench Pokemon. Search your deck for a card that evolves and put it on that Pokemon. Just terrible for a Stage 2. I think if you want to play a Stage 2 Pokemon, it has to be like a boss monster or a support that's so insane that when it hits the board, it basically wins the game for you. And if it can't do those things, I just would never play that card. This Capsicid is very, very cute, but he's not very good. Dude, this Pokemon, I cannot take seriously. Like, look at that. Like, look at that face. Like, I can just not take this Pokemon seriously. It just rolls poop around all day. It's actually just ridiculous. Rellor, Rabsca. Rabsca says draw 3. If you have three or fewer cards in your deck, it does 200 more damage. So if you build a deck that just, like, aggroes through your deck, basically making your whole deck just, like, Rabscas and recovery cards, potentially, this could be really cool. But the problem is, this has such little HP that everything is going to knock it out. And how are you going to balance having a million cards in your deck and 3 or fewer in your deck when your opponents play like Iono and stuff? And then your like 20 card hand that you've worked so hard to build up goes back into your deck. And now you have to go back down to 3 or fewer cards. And at that point, this just like becomes completely unplayable. So one Iono beats it, but this could be kind of cute as a funny deck. Wo Chien has appeared. This guy looks kind of menacing, not going to lie. I guess he is like a thing of disaster. I don't actually remember from the game. Greed Hazard, 20 damage. You have 3 or fewer cards in your deck, does 122 to your opponent's bench. Another gimmick to the 3 or fewer. This is actually a pretty insane attack. I don't know how we'd get to 3 or fewer while getting 2 energy onto this guy. Maybe like a Mirage Gate Comfy deck. If Drago kind of disappears a little bit, and it could be really cool to like get low and then use Greed Hazard and snipe. I don't know, like it's the whole 3 or fewer thing is cute, but I don't think it's good. A Paldean Taurus. Dude, they're just like a Paldean Taurus in like every set, I feel like. I guess they're just everywhere in the game, huh? Hardy Tackle 90 plus 90 if they're a stage 1. Pretty useless. Victini, Victory Cheer, 70 HP. Attacks used by your Evolution Fire do 10 more damage to your opponent's active. Is 10 a good number modifier? I guess I'll have to think about that in the context of the game as we keep moving. But it's also evolution, specifically not basics. So it has to be maybe in Ceruledge or something. But even then, I don't know if the 10 damage is useful and wasting a whole card for it in your 60 card deck. The Larvesta is pretty mediocre, just another bulk filler, it looks like, with D30 damage and heal. Scorch is Burning Fever 130. It does 30 to each of your bench Pokemon. That's just actually terrible. This guy's never leaving the bulk pile. Another Fake Coco, adorable little guy, love him. Crocloir, and then Skeledirge, Unaware. Prevent all effective attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. Damage is not an effect. Flaricidal, 60 plus 20 for each bench Pokemon. Actually not a terrible attack, but it is on a stage 2 non-EX Pokemon, so it is going to take a lot to evolve up. 180 HP is a little bit under where we want it to be. 210 or something, maybe it's a little bit better, but at that point it's just kind of a broken stage 2. So I could see this seeing play, but I just don't think it's worth it, especially when the stage 2s eat up so much space in your deck and they're not a boss monster. We have a Charcadet. I think Charcadet also evolves into Ceruledge, so this Charcadet could be good for the EX, potentially 80 HP, but 80 HP also means that you can't Poffin it, so it's probably terrible. Armarouge. Discard all 5 from this Pokemon. 181 to the bench. 180 Snipe is actually pretty decent, but discarding all fires and it's fire colorless makes it pretty bad. If it was fire double colorless, maybe I think you could see some play. Ceruledge, Blaze Curse, colorless, discard all special energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. That's a pretty big FU to Lugia, if I do say so myself. Not the one that has Mist, though. You're not getting the one with Mist. Black / fire colorless, Black Flame / 160. This Pokemon can't attack next turn. Scovillion, double type EX. It's grass and fire, pretty interesting. Both types are not terrible in the metagame right now. Grass is actually pretty decent for the Charizard matchup, and fire is pretty good for any Teal Mask base deck. Spice Rage, 10 plus 70 for each damage count on this Pokemon. I guess, how do you do that efficiently is the question, because Capsicid's grass, so you have to Magma Basin to this guy when he's evolved to get the damage counters, and so you can get to 150 with 1 Magma Basin tick. Basically infinite with 2 Magma Basin ticks, but are we ever getting to that point? Because then after that, you're just getting one shot, and then you have to build a new Scovillion. That's just really annoying. I guess you could play the other Scovillion, mess up people's hands, and then go into this one. But at that point, you're playing 2 different energy types, so I don't even know if that's good. Another Paldeantoras. We just love putting these guys in the set, huh? We have a Milotic EX here, 270 HP, Sparkling Scales, prevent all damage and effects done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Terra Pokemon's attack. Kind of insane because there's a lot of Terra attackers, Dragapult, Charizard, in the format, and as soon as the V block rotates out, a V-Star block rotates out in February, this card probably gets significantly better because now the only big boss monster attackers in the format will be Terra Pokemon, besides Raging Bolt probably. So at that point, you have to think about the metagame and the context of it. And Milotic basically just walls off Terrapagos, walls off Charizard, walls off Dragapult, walls off Ogerpons, and any other attacker like Ceruledge. Hypnosplash is 160 and they're asleep, but it's not even that terrible because asleep is basically just a 50% chance that they don't do anything or have to play a switch card. And 160, I guess with the DTE, you get to 140, and that's not even that bad damage-wise. So I think this card is actually probably super insane once rotation happens. But until rotation happens, it's not seeing play. But once rotation does happen, I think this Milotic could be... Whoa. What was that? Sorry. Absolutely disgusting. I think I just swallowed my own spit. That was disgusting. I'm so sorry. Spheal and Celio. Nothing really going on with these two guys, but we've got the very, very happy Seal enjoying his life, and then this is kind of like when you become an adult and you're just contemplating life, but he's got a smile on his face, so maybe he's just happy about it. There's another Walrein here, 60 damage, and your opponent's next turn, Pokemon 2 or fewer energy can't attack. That's just a blanket field effect. Could be actually pretty decent, but getting this guy out is the problem. And then 2 or fewer is actually pretty... I don't know, man. That seems kind of bad unless you're playing a ton of energy disruption, and there's not a ton in the format right now. We've got Shellos, both East and West. Iron Bundle. Water colors, 200 minus 50 for each color, so your opponent's active. That seems terrible. Chien-Pao, Snow Sink. When you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may discard a stadium and play. Close enough. Welcome back, Pumpkaboo. Welcome back, Marshadow. Missed you. Welcome back. Icicle Loop's not a bad attack. This card I've already seen before. This card's absolutely broken. Pikachu EX, 200 HP. Terra ability Tenacious Heart. If this Pokemon has full HP, it will be knocked out. It isn't. 10 HP remaining. Pretty insane because that actually messes with a lot of decks trying to go 2-2-2. So unless they can preemptively spread damage, which only a few decks can do right now. Dragapult mainly, Reggie Drago, Dust Nordex. This Pikachu EX is basically unkillable and becomes a 2-shot unit. With Topaz Bolt being Grass Lightning Metal, doing 300, which is a significant amount of damage. Basically one-shotting almost everything in the format besides Charizard and Dragapult, and you discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. So I don't know how you'd play this. I was thinking Reggie's, but that's just me. But this card I think has to be good. Like I feel like this Pikachu has to be insane. That's just my verdict. Magaton has Overwhelm Discharge. This card I've also seen before. You may attach up to 3 basic energy cards. You may discard pile to your Lightning in any way you like. Use ability, it's knocked out. Obviously, clearly Magneton and Pikachu are meant to work together. But I wouldn't play more than like 1 Magneton or like a 2-2 Magneton line. Because after you use your first Magneton, the prize map is already messed up anyway. And if you're giving up 2 prize cards, it's just way too much in any matchup, I think. But if you can go like set up Pikachu in one way, set up Pikachu in another way, Magneton for your 3rd Pikachu attack, I think you just can't lose the game with 3 Pikachu attacks. This Magnezone sucks. Let's just move past it. Another Rotom card, Crash Pulse, reveal their hand, discard any item and tool cards you find there. So basically you just look at their hand and you can take out a lot of stuff. So maybe you play like a control deck that can rely on this early, and then once you've locked out your opponent's items and tools, you can pivot into a different strategy and do something else. Like this is definitely a card that's going to go into some sort of control strategy. Seems pretty insane. And then 20x each active. So if your opponent's building up like a big attacker to go through like your disruption or something, you can just blow it up with energy short as well. Actually a pretty insane card, I think, for control. The Zubstrika line is filler. Once again, thank you so much for your service. Stunfisk is filler. Tapu Koko, Call for Thunder, search for 2 lightning, put them in your hand. It's not even benched. It's actually awful. 90 plus 90 if you have more prize cards remaining. 180 is not enough damage in this current metagame, I think. You just can't do it with that much damage. Wattrell, kill a Wattrell. Nothing crazy from this guy. 160 isn't bad, but Lightning Colorless on a 120 HP Pokemon is a ton of commitment, and we're not even one-shotting anything, which you just can't do in this format. Miraidon Protection Code 40 and prevent all damage to your future Pokemon by attacks from your Pokemon's EX. If this Pokemon leaves the active, it stops working. Not actually terrible. It's kind of a Hail Mary card, where if you play like a Future Box deck now, you can go into Protection Code, build up your board, and just say you have to gust around. But I feel like if it's a 1-prizer anyway, your opponents want to gust around anyway. Or if they knock out the Miraidon that's in the active, the effect's going to stop. So it's like so niche. Like if the effect didn't stop working when it got gusted, only if like knocked out, maybe like if this Pokemon leaves play, the effect stops working, I think it would be a lot better. But because your opponent already wants to gust around a 1-prizer, I feel like this is just kind of a moot point. We have a Togetic line where Wonder Kiss, if your active Pokemon gets knocked out, flip a coin of heads, take 1 more prize card for that knocked out. If your opponent's active, so you just basically get Iron Hands on a stage 2. This has got to be insane also. Like, there's no way this is not insane. Like, what? You just basically give yourself, okay, well, it's on a coin flip, but like, I don't know, this card seems insane. I really like this card. What the heck? Painful Memories on Uxie, 2 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Mesprit, 2 Psychic Energy from your hand any way you like. God Burst, 2 Psychic, 160, but you have to have all 3 Pixies. Classic of the Pixies. Psychic Colors, 10 plus 10 for each damage counter. All 3 of them are pretty weak, but usually, traditionally, all 3 Pixies need to be in together for one of the Pixies to have a pretty effect. And so Pixies, Lake Sprites, whatever you want to call them. Cofagrigus, 6 damage counters on each play that already has abilities. So this could be something you play in like Frostlass, Munkidori, some sort of combination with that. Basically to just expedite the game, because Underworld Law basically can just speed up the game to a point where your opponent thought they had more turns that they were taking. You can just Underworld Law, go into a TM Devo at some point, and then the game just basically ends. So this card's super good for that strategy specifically. I don't know the rest. Nothing for Esper here. Meowstic is Tempting Tail. You may discard a Relaxing Teaser. I'm assuming that's an item or a tool. To use his ability. Once you're turn, you may switch your opponent's bench. So it's a gust on discard. That's really conditional and really cheeky. I wonder what Relaxing Teaser actually does, because this card as an attacker sucks. So maybe if you can couple, like if that item is actually pretty good and decent, maybe the deck is like not bad. Like the idea of this conditional gust is not bad. Put a trainer from your discard. Could be good for control decks, but 70 HP is way too little. Aleki is already in the format. Yeah. Sandygast. Palisade is the thing we're here to talk about. Triple colorless, 160, they can't retreat. It is an EX, 280 HP, stage 1. Water Psychic Fighting Barite Jail. Put damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon until the range HP is 100. That could actually be pretty cheeky, but the question is, like, what if they just don't evolve up? Like, what if they stagger? Then this card sucks. Like, it's a thing. Like, if players play well, it's like a skill check card. If players play well, this card sucks. Heal 30 in a status condition. I guess if there's a format where healing 30 and a status condition becomes really important within DD, then I can see this card being really good. But I feel like right now that's not existent in the format. Move all damage from one bench ancient to one of your opponent's active. Seems pretty terrible. There's nothing in ancient that builds up damage. But psychic 70 and does 30 less is not bad, but psychic is not the type you want to be playing in ancient box anyway. Like ancient box is almost always going to want to play the darks because Roaring Moon is too broken. Mankey, Primeape, and then we see the Annihilate, first time stage 2. I think there's like one card of this already. Destiny Fight, both active or knocked out. Could be a funny deck, but again, it's a stage 2, so the build-up is pretty high. Tauros, once again, welcome back to the party. There's the Fampi and the Donphan. This Donphan seems pretty terrible. Discard 2, takes 100 less, but you can just gust around it, and it's a baby, so it's pretty easy to pop. Sticky Bind. If this Pokemon's on your bench stage 2 Pokemon in play have no abilities. This would be really cool, except for the fact that there are no... I mean, I guess you stop Pidgeot, which is pretty reasonable. But besides that, I don't know what other stage 2s are good that have abilities right now. Like Dragapult doesn't have abilities. Zard doesn't have abilities. Maybe there'll be stage 2s that have abilities once the V-Star block rotates. So maybe this card can become good at some point in time. But at the moment, it's only Pidgeot that you're stopping. Glamora poisons the active, and they can't attach energy from the hand of the defending Pokemon. That's actually not terrible, so you can try to lock something in the active and do like a perfect loop combo with Alakazam, Radiant Alakazam. So maybe it's worth doing, but again, they have switch effects, and so it's the kind of like a format check card, especially in like a control metagame. Another Koraidon, 30 plus 150 if your ancient Pokemon used an attack last turn. Actually pretty good. Actually pretty good for ancient box, I think, because the other Koraidon is not that amazing, but this one already has a base of 30, and if you already attack with like any of your other ancient Pokemon, your first attack gets a little bit stifled, but once you've attacked one time, you can chain this one better, and you don't have to like fighting energies because of it only being 30. Call it double colorless. So this card actually seems pretty good for ancient box as a whole. Dino has Stomp Off. Zweilous has Stomp Off for 2, and Hydreigon has notably weak to grass as well, so another dark type attacker that is weak to grass. Crash Heads, Dark Colorless, 200, discard 3. It's actually pretty relevant. Like, it's an insane amount of damage. It sets up 2 shots, and you're discarding 3 cards, which could be a lot of resources from an opponent's deck early on. So if you want to just use Crash Heads early on to set up the game state, this could be really, really, really annoying to play into when you're losing multiple resources a turn and you have no great way to one-shot a Hydreigon, potentially. And against decks like Regidrago, Raging Bolt, some of these more aggro decks, they can't aggro as much now because you might just lose 3 resources and you've suddenly lost the game because your early game was so aggressive that now you only have like 1 Sada left or like 1 of a certain resource left. I really like this card quite a bit. Psychic, Dark, Metal, Colorless, quite a few energy cards. 130 and then 132 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Actually seems quite worth it as an attack. You can Dark Patch twice to this card and then Crispin for the other 2 energy requirements or something else in that regard. Obsidian seems like a great way to clean up the game after you've been using Crash Heads a couple times. And I think once Manaphy rotates, this card becomes absolutely insane. We have a Grafaiai, attach up to 3 energy from your opponent's discard pile to your opponent's Pokemon. I just don't know what that really does for us. Toxic, it's the Petron promo from the box. Yep. Triple Bingo, if you don't have exactly 3 cards, that's terrible. All the old Drug Trios suck. A Bronzong is pretty bad here. Randomly printing an Eternatus. 10 plus 80 if your opponent's Pokemon's an EX. I guess it's a 1-prize attacker that can clean up. And then Fire, Dark, 230 discard Stadium. Again, very weird. I don't really know why this guy's in here, but whatever, you know. Seems terrible, by the way. Tatsugiri, EX, also very funny to have an EX for this guy. Fire, Water, Sneaky Pump 100, ignores all effects on your opponent's active, so it's a Shred. So if you need to play Shredder in like Drago or something, seems pretty decent. Cinnabar, Lure, look at the top 10, choose a number you find there, put them on your bench. Great setup card, but for 3 energy cards, that means it's going to be pretty late in the game. Don't really like the idea of that. Slakoth, Vigoroth, and Slay King. It's got Slack Off. If they have no EX or V, they can't attack, so it's very conditional, but every deck plays EX or V, so I think you're fine. Double Colors for 280, discard an energy. Seems pretty insane. On a 340 HP big guy, like that seems pretty nuts that you can one-shot any V-Star Pokemon in the format, and then with some sort of damage modifier like Dusknoir or Dusclops, you can basically one-shot any big attacker in the format as well, and 340 means you're no slouch, and for a DTE, you're doing all of this. I quite like this. You can also Glass Trumpet to your own board with because there are colorless Pokemon, so I actually think this card's pretty insane. Zangoose, 10 plus, nope, no coins, I'm out. Kecleon, Hidden Expertise, You can prevent the damage. That's funny, but you only do 30 to... It's a 30 like damage bump, which is a terrible attack. This one's a Bouffalon. It's a different guy. Awaiting Horns, 40 if damage, but 6 damage counters. This is also terrible. Helioptile is colorless. That doesn't seem correct. I thought it was like a sand lizard thing. Electric desert lizard. I don't know, man. This seems... I don't understand the Pokemon typing at all. Also seems terrible. Just for 4 energy cards, seems pretty bad. Oranger, know their weakness. You change a defending Pokemon to colorless weakness. Whatever. That does not mean anything to me. We have Mousehold coming into the fray. Search your deck for 2 Mousehold or Mousehold EX and put them on your bench. Shuffle your deck. That seems pretty good because you can just do a setup if Mousehold EX is okay. Like, you can just get ahead, set up your board, and then do... I mean, you're never using a Scissors combo, I guess, to maybe high roll, but using Mousehold, you can set up other Mouseholds pretty quickly, and that gives you the combo, I think, because Mousehold EX does a ton of damage for all the Mouseholds that are in play. Terapagos, search your deck for 3 basic, put them into your hand, or just attach, and then shuffle your deck. This could be really, 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 really good. Because this could be really good for the basic cards, like maybe even Pikachu. Like I think playing this in Pikachu could be pretty strong. Playing this in like any Terra Pokemon that seemed really hard to use now that was a basic could be really, really good. So I think this card is a really good setup card in general. But To Retreat is pretty annoying. Mystery Set Trainer item. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, then put them back in any order, or shuffle the card, put them in the bottom of your deck. I like that. That seems really, really good. Because now this can combo with like Shoes, Not Stop, Not Gear, Greninja, stuff like that. But also you just get to put 3 onto the bottom of your deck if you don't like it. So I feel like it's a pretty nice like scry effect where you're like, I don't like this. See you later. Scrabble Switch. Switch your active with your bench. Move as many energy. This card was really, really good in its heyday. Don't know if we'll have as much utility with it now. I'm hoping we can figure something out, but I like this. Relaxing Teaser. You can only use this card if you go second and only on your first turn. Put an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon into their hand. This card seems terrible. This conditional Relaxing Teaser Meowstick effect package seems actually awful. Don't play it. Miracle Intercom puts 2 supporter cards from your discard pile into your hand. It's like a one-time use of Via Seeker, but it's a 2-time supporter. I think it is not a bad effect. However, it's very difficult to justify playing this over something like Prime Catcher or Hero Escape or stuff like that. Amulet of Hope, if they're knocked out, you may search your deck for any 3 cards, put them in your hand. The problem right now is that there's too much tool removal, and the fact that Dusknoir exists means you can circumvent this card because it is from damage. But otherwise, I think it's a pretty decent card for setup strategies where you can throw it up an Amulet and just say, hey, deal with my Pokemon right now, because my whole deck just wants to set up and get like the ball rolling with like Pidgeot or something, and me getting 3 cards means that I can do whatever I want next turn. A couple of berries. Don't really care about the berries, honestly. It's minus Dark on Colbur, minus Metal on Babiri. Technical Machine Fluorite is Grass, Water, Psychic. Discard energy if you do heal Pokemon from each of your Terra Pokemon. Seems really situational. I think it'd have to be like a tank-based deck. I don't even know what would be good. Serrano, search deck for 3X, put them into your hand. Definitely like a setup-based card. Doesn't seem terrible. Well, if there's a lot of basic EXs that are really good, like this can go into like, not Bolt. I wouldn't say Bolt. Actually, no. What deck would it even go into? Because Bolt wants to Sada early. So it seems like really weird as a like overall combination play. I don't know. This card seems okay. Not great. It seems like Clive or like a Razoo, stuff like that that's been printed that seems really good on paper, but then it's like really mediocre. There's Clement's Quick Thinking, heal 60 from each of your lightning. Just not enough, I feel like, to do anything. Sabrina's Gaze, search during your opponent's turn, each opponent's Pokemon takes 30 less. Again, seems pretty weak for a supporter. Amped Amphitheater, basic Pokemon get 30, and Gravity Mountain, stage 2 Pokemon gets reduced by 30. Both these cards seem pretty good, both to buff your basics or to reduce stage 2 basics like Charizard, stage 2 Pokemon like Charizard or Dragapult, to bring them down into one-shot range from cards like Slaking or Pikachu specifically. So I think both these stadiums are really good, and at some point they will see some play that will make them really good. So that's the end of the video, basically, guys. But I'm going to look through some of these alt arts. Just take a glance here. These are beautiful, beautiful cards. Like, look at this Milotic. It's a gorgeous card. This Pikachu is absolutely phenomenal as well, and so is this Hydreigon. What a gorgeous art. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I try to be as in-depth as possible with my cards. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Peace.